Hey everybody, it's Grant Craig. I wanted to give you a quick tip on how to use two separate mix buses to add instant clarity and depth to your mixes. Let's take a look. One of the best tricks I ever learned when mixing for pop and rock was to route all of my music and all of my vocal effects through one bus, and then mixing all of my dry vocals and sometimes content with low end frequencies, really big low end frequencies, and dry vocals, like I said, into a separate bus. Now, on the first bus that has the music, you want to compress everything with a very gentle compressor. In my case, I use a Focusrite Red 3. I come out of my Pro Tools rig into a Crane Song Egret and go out of that into my Focusrite Red 3, bring it back in what I call the A bus here. As you will see as I scroll up here, you'll see that I have everything going out to the Egret here. This is channel 1, snare bus going out to channel 2, and you can route this however you like in your own rig. You can route it all through an internal bus to an aux and call it an A bus, and that would be very similar to what I'm doing here. I'm also using outboard gear. But essentially the principle is to run all of your music through one same bus. In my case, I go through outboard gear, through the Focusrite Red 3, back into the A bus. And I'm going to play you the chorus of this track with the B bus muted, and you might hear some background vocals in there, but you won't hear any lead vocal. And I want you to listen when I engage and disengage the A bus compressor, which is my Red 3, and you can tell that there's not much happening there, just a little bit of glue and a little bit of sort of leveling action happening, but nothing real aggressive. Check it out. This is with the compressor engaged. I'm going to disable it over here, and you might hear the amplitude go down a little bit, but you'll also be able to hear the lack of compression. This is disengaged. I'm going to re-engage it now. You'll hear the difference. So you can tell there's not a whole lot happening on the A bus. That's really not that important of a compressor. The principle is just to level off a lot of the processing you've got going on early on the individual tracks and output that to a main glue for your music and bring that back into an A bus. And then for my B bus, I route the lead vocal, oftentimes the lead vocal double, and oftentimes also the dry harmonies. And I'm going to unmute that now, and you'll hear them blended in with the main mix. And at the end of that, I'll solo it. This is just the B bus. You can tell there's nothing in there except dry vocals. Oh, there's also a bass drum in there. There must have been some low-end content in this when I was mixing that was causing too much of a reaction to my A-bus compressor, so I moved it to my B-bus. And the reason you would do that is so that your A-bus compressor doesn't suck down too much audio off of a huge amount of low-end or anything really. If you've got like a song that's got 4 on the floor, kick drum and snare drum happening together, sometimes that snare drum can get lost if you send it through the A-bus. Especially if the kick and the snare are hitting exactly at the same time. So I will often send the snare drum through the B bus as well, and that'll give you a little bit more separation. In principle, what this is doing is it's gluing together all of your music separately from your lead vocal, which can then sit on top of your glued music and give it the impression that it is separate and yet together, because remember, all your vocal effects are going to go through the A bus. There's a lot of tricks floating around on the internet on how to sidechain your vocal effects to get them to sit behind your dry lead vocal, but if you just do this, route all your vocal effects through an A bus, send your dry vocals through a B bus that's not compressed, that will offer you tremendous result with way less work in routing. Now, out of this A bus and B bus here, I go into what I call a mix bus. Simply all it is the A bus compressed music, the B bus dry vocals, that goes into the mix bus, like I said, and I'm using what's called the Cytomic the Glue, which is an SSL 4K bus compressor clone, essentially. Now what this is doing is it's gluing the dry lead vocal on the B bus back to the music on the A bus, in a sense remarrying the two signals together into a cohesive sound while still maintaining that separation. This is a very effective way of getting anything you want to sit right on top of the mix to poke out above everything else. You just run it through the B bus. So to recap what I just told you, the music in my case is going through the A bus, through a bus compressor, very gently compressing. You can scroll back earlier in the video and watch that again if you'd like. Outputting that and summing it with a B bus, which is dry vocals, and because they have not yet been compressed on a bus compressor level, they are sitting on top of the A bus. And I remarry those two signals into a total mix bus that I just call mix. And I'm using the SSL 4K compressor here to do that, and you can use anything else that you'd like to use, a 33609 or an API 2500. Doesn't matter really what you use, just what you're going for really. But it's important that you glue that B bus signal back into the A bus, otherwise it will feel too separated oftentimes. Now, when you're doing this for the first time, it will feel very frustrating because you'll end up over compressing, and that's completely normal. And this takes time to get good at it. But if you really work at it and really play with your settings, and maybe I'll do another mix tip video some other day on the settings I use on my Red 3 and my egret and all that kind of stuff. But this is just a simple brief overview of the principle and how to do it. That's it for today, everybody. Thanks for watching. I'm here as a resource for you. If you got any questions, leave a comment below. If you're on YouTube, hit that subscribe button for the latest videos as they're coming out. If you're on Facebook and Instagram, hit that follow button. See ya.